Nolan Leslie Ross is a genius software inventor and also a computer hacker who comes to the aid of Emily in her plot for revenge against the Grayson family. He is shunned by the rest of the Hamptons community, which he could partially be due to his loyalty to David Clark. When Nolan first went into business, large companies turned him away and nobody supported him, but David believed in his ideas and invested some of his money in Nolan's company, Corp. Nolan, therefore, believes that he has a duty to uphold the Clark name and, as a result, helps Emily in her plot against the Graysons by aiding her through the use of various technical skills. Nolan's help has proved vital to Emily's revenge, and therefore they've become best friends, forming a bond with each other and deepening Nolan's loyalties to the Clark family. Nolan Ross is the founder-CEO of Corp, with a net worth of $19.8 billion. It is believed that he struggled most of his adult life to secure investments for any of his innovative ideas, and his success is due to David Clark, whose assistance and initial investment kick-started his business. Nolan is often ostracized for his quirky personality and controversial leadership, which prevents him from being fully accepted into Hampton society. Despite the fact that he is only seeking friendship, such as when he purchased Jack Porter's boat under the condition that Jack would act as his friend, he comes across as needy and bizarre to many. When David Clark was falsely accused and imprisoned, Nolan visited him regularly before he died, feeling indebted to the man who helped start his career. Following Clark's death, Nolan picks up Emily, also known as Amanda Clark, who was released from juvenile detention, and explains everything about her father's innocence in order to dissolve the hostility she has against her father being a criminal. Nolan's wishes were always to help Emily Thorne, Amanda Clark. In pilot, Nolan attempts to buy Jack's boat called the Amanda, but Jack refuses. He makes a recording of the Memorial Day party, which he watches for his own amusement. Jack calls Nolan and eventually accepts his offer, telling him to bring a check down to the docks the following day. However, when he notices that David Clark's daughter attended the party, he visits her house and welcomes her home, but she attacks him. Nolan states that her father trusted him and pleads with her, telling Emily that he wants to see the Graysons go down as much as she does. When he offers his help, Emily refuses, and when he goes to leave, he stops at the doorway and tells Emily that Jack still thinks about her. In a flashback, Nolan arrives at the juvenile detention center and picks up Emily, explaining to her her father's innocence and offering her the infinity box. In trust, Nolan presented Emily with the beach house that he purchased after outbidding Victoria Grayson, who initially attempted to outbid Emily. Afterward, Emily used her connection to Nolan to make Bill Harmon believe that Corp was heavily investing in Allcom stock, prompting Bill to invest deeply as well. When Nolan reveals that he is actually investing in Allcom's competitor, the stock prices rapidly drop and Bill's company loses billions of his investors' dollars. Nolan later bought Jack's boat and offered to pay Jack additional money in exchange for operating the boat as well, acting as his friend. When Nolan found out that the Porters are having financial difficulties, he offered to give the boat back to Jack at the end of the summer. Jack reluctantly agreed to Nolan's deal, but eventually grows fond of him. In Betrayal, Nolan received a call from Emily asking for her help sending videos to Tom's tablet. Nolan helped Declan with his particular revenge of Adam Connor by giving him a laptop that was recording to Adam's cam. In Duplicity, as Nolan saw how Emily is taking down Michelle Banks and her friend helped her and created an immortal webpage with her tapes, he discovered that Michelle first worked in as a child psychologist, so then he told Jack that Emily was feeling something for him and showed the page of Hamptons exposed to prove it. In Guilt, when Nolan put a cam in Emily's house to control her and it ended up in Lydia's apartment, Nolan saw that Lydia discovered something about Emily and advised her of something. Emily asked him to cover it up, and he saw the 2002 Grayson New Year's Bash picture and took it before he left the apartment. He discovered that Lydia had fallen off of the camera and also discovered that Frank threw her off the roof. In intrigue, Nolan told Emily about Frank and she asked him to send the videos to Conrad to take him down so he can encourage Jack to declare himself to Emily. He brought the Porter brothers to the July 4th party to make them get their girls, so he was scared that Frank discovered that he sent the video to Conrad anyway, so he told Emily that he was leaving her alone. Nolan wants to be accepted as an assistant for Emily's plans for revenge as much as for a legally of something. He took the offer to help her in taking down the Graysons. He has helped her take down Dr. Michelle Banks and also Senator Kingsley. Nolan helped without knowing it. In trust, he planted a camera that was hidden inside a whale figurine in Emily's house. When they packed Lydia's things, they found a whale dubbed the Shamu Cam in the box when Nolan got it back from Lydia's. When he did, he watched the tape and saw that Frank assaulted and apparently killed Lydia. However, Lydia was only in a coma. He hooked up with Tyler in charade so he could stop him from ruining Emily's plan, and even had a brief sexual relationship with him, showing that he was gay or bisexual. However, he rated himself 3 on the Kinsey scale, means that he most likely bisexual. Nolan been contacting with Tyler's brother after when Tyler started displaying signs of psychopathic behavior, and Tyler eventually got arrested after his brother stopped him from shooting Emily. So Emily later on rescued Nolan from the man who had killed her father, and also Nolan had to stop her from killing him. In the end of the season, Nolan had been kidnapped by the white-haired man after infiltrating his house disguised as a cable guy. He was planting webcams. However, the man somehow noticed the cameras and hacked them to put them on a loop, and so a bad guy snuck into Nolan's house and knocked him out. So later on, Emily let herself be abducted by the man and helps Nolan escape so he can drop off the evidence proving Conrad's role in Flight 197 to Agent McGowan and took copies for himself. Among the video footage, he finds a conversation between Conrad, Victoria, and the white-haired man talking about Emily's mother being alive. In the beginning of Season 2, Nolan has sold his house to get away from the bad memories, i.e. being attacked by Tyler and the white-haired man. He temporarily moves into Emily's house. As of this season, the Graysons become aware, partly thanks to Padma's sniffing around, that she and David Clark's investment in Null Corp to contract with Grayson Global, so they may own a large share of the company by extension. Since with the help of Nolan's former CFO, Marco Romero, and the Graysons seal the deal and take over a majority of Null Corp and left it to Nolan in charge of it. In Identity, Nolan, assisted by Emily, personally takes down the Falcon, a hacker involved in framing David Clark. He sets up a meeting with her at an arcade in Brooklyn where he holds the record on a Street Fighter II console. He asks her for help with wiping information on a flash drive from the web. She turns him down, but is convinced to bet her assistance on him beating her in a Street Fighter match. He wins, and she begrudgingly takes the job. When she later opens the flash drive on her computer, she triggers a virus that wipes her hard drive and alerts the FBI to her location. Nolan crosses over the Falcon's face on Emily's Grayson Global retreat photo. In the end of the episode, Nolan is approached by Victoria, who earlier publicly admitted on Nightline to having had a son when she was younger. She offers to restore his full ownership of Null Corp in exchange for him helping her find her firstborn son. In Truth Part 2, Nolan is arrested by the FBI after being set up as the initiative's patsy for the Grayson Global bombing. As evidence, they use the fact that his program, Carrion, was used to disable the power grid, a fake testimony by the Falcon, and a video of Padma, presumably taken during the 6 weeks she was held captive by Trask, calling Nolan an anarchist and member of the initiative. In Fear, Nolan is set free from jail when a failsafe he installed in Carrion clears his name and exposes most of the initiative, and Emily goes to pick him up, returning the favor. Emily has bought him a new house, but she needs a favor from him. She asks Nolan to hack a security entrance at the Memorial Day party so she can bring a vial of poison. He tells her that he is not interested in computer hacking anymore and asks her to trust him. At the Memorial Day party, he enters with a parachute, becoming the spotlight, and gives Emily the vial without anybody seeing it. Then, at the beach, Emily explains to him that Jack has given her an ultimatum and that her wedding will take place on August 8th. In sin, Emily leaves Nolan her infinity box for him to keep because Daniel is living with her and it is not safe. Nolan accepts it and asks her who is the next to take down. Emily tells him it is Father Paul, the former investor's inciting in Grayson Global. Nolan asks her not to take him down because he is a changed man, but Emily rejects. Emily tells Nolan that she regrets having taken him down, but she will fix it. He receives a visit from Victoria because she thinks that Nolan stole her money. In confession, Nolan decided to celebrate a housewarming bash and invited many people. He met Patrick without knowing that he was Patrick at the beginning and invited him to the party. At the party, Margot offered him the chance to appear on the cover of her magazine. At the end of the party, Patrick appeared to averiguate if Nolan had invited him to suss him out and to tell him that he doesn't want to be in the middle of Victoria and Emily's feud. In mercy, he found Patrick again in the beach club and when he went to swim. Nolan stole his wallet. He used his computer again after his rehab with technology to investigate Patrick, and he discovered that he had been married. He traveled to Florida, where his ex-wife lived, and bribed her to obtain information about Patrick. Then, at his house, they kissed. In control, Nolan went to talk with Patrick, and he told him that he knew what he had done. This makes Nolan think that he was tired from revenge as it was destroying his life. He tried to apologize to Patrick, and he came to see him in his house, and they went all the way. Nolan suggested Emily open herself to Daniel in order to get him back. In dissolution, Nolan and Patrick's relationship went well until Emily told him that he had to cut it off because he was dangerous. Tired of Emily's secrets, he revealed himself to Jack, and Jack told him that he was going to take care of Patrick. Then, Emily revealed to him and Jack that she was going to leave for good after her final act, framing Victoria for her death. In Resurgence, Nolan finds an opportunity to close an old wound, take down the person responsible that made his father stop talking with him. She was Busy Preston, who was working for the Graysons. He first wanted to release all of the secrets from her clients, but he decided to send an email to them telling them how sloppy she was. He decided not to kill her marriage. He used his computer again to know Patrick's location, but he wasn't as good as he used to be. In secrecy, Nolan prepares the house for his new roommate, Aiden. Jack told him not to tell a thing to Margot about Conrad. He helped Emily to pick up a present for Daniel and convinced her to have a plan B in case something goes wrong. Then, Aiden asked him a favor, but he couldn't say anything to Emily. In Surrender, Nolan helped Jack dissuade Margot, but instead, he told her that Jack knew more than he was saying. He also helped Aiden with her plan without Emily's knowledge about it, the proposal. In Exodus, Nolan took Emily to the altar. Then he had to take care of Patrick so he wouldn't ruin Emily's plan, so he told him that he knew what he had done. They met in his house and they made up. In Homecoming, Nolan first thought that Emily's plan went well until Jack told him that somebody shoot her. When she was hospitalized, Nolan tried to see her, but without a family member, he couldn't see her. That's when Patrick betrayed him and chose her mother over him. He hacked the hospital system to let Aiden take out Emily, but she didn't remember anything. To recover her memory, he told Jack. In Durance, Nolan visited Emily, but she told him that she had failed and would leave her revenge. Then Patrick visit him to make up and they meet at his house. But during the meeting, Patrick tried to drunk him, and when he discovered that Nolan was drinking water, he stabbed him and stole the infinity box. But luckily, Emily advised him by walkie-talkie, and he changed the box. In Hatred, Nolan was angry with Patrick and decided to tell him that Victoria kept Patrick's father from him. Then he visited Emily and told her that Nico and Aiden were together. Aiden told him that Nico would leave to go after Gregor, and Nolan told him that she would find him and kill him, a proper revenge for Declan. In Payback, Emily told him that she was having blackouts, which made him worry. While she was with him, she had another, so Nolan filmed it and saw a violent Emily during the blackout. He began thinking about it and realized that Emily's mother had the same, but nothing worked for her. In Struggle, Nolan was worried about Emily, so he asked Aidan for help. While he was in the meeting for the Hamptons art walk, Victoria asked for his help. He visited Patrick to apologize and invite him to the art walk, telling him that Stefano Leone wanted to see him. Victoria and Nolan's plan worked as Patrick left the Hamptons. Nolan is a very intelligent, loyal, and quirky ally of Emily's. He has a tendency to be rather annoying and has a strong sense of morality. He often has a strong sense of fashion. Despite often making flirty and witty remarks, he's rather introverted, partly because he has to keep Emily's secret to himself. He acts as Emily's conscience at times, preventing her from taking things too far. Nolan is very loyal to Emily. However, he is not afraid to speak up when he feels that Emily might make a mistake. He tells her things such as implying that her father would be ashamed of her. He has a very big heart and lets love and emotion often take over his conscience, like Emily. His vulnerability is what leads him to his own detriment at times.